Hey,
Cross mountain ranges, split cells, command
can
the
you hear me?
tools of tomorrow. We are a team of 1 million unique and powerful individuals. Join forces with us, and you can take on anything.
Oh,
What's your warrior? Find out at
I didn't see it.
GoArmy.com.
Where did it pop up? Are we live? Right. Interesting. You can just say my real name, it's fine. Is that what Jimmy did? Alright. Okay. Alright. Ed, you need to reroute the audio. That's what Jimmy's saying to me. What? I'm back. I was just talking to Jimmy. I can hear you, yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
What's going on? I see what's going on. Now everyone can see me. All right, there we go. Okay, we should be set up now. In a moment, everyone will be hearing me after the delay is done. But once YouTube syncs over, we can maybe start again really quickly. So my bad on that. Let's just wait. I'm watching myself realize this in YouTube in real time right now. Let's see.
We have confirmation that the audio works.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Yeah. All right. So we can start that again then, since I think all audio is actually cut off. They didn't hear you or me at that time. Okay. So hi, everybody. I think you can all hear me now. Apologies for the technical OBS difficulties. I was experimenting with a screen or a scene that was yet to be set up properly, audio-wise. Just to get right into it, I'd like to introduce everyone to Gav, who is one of Tlon's designers, who has worked on our latest thoughts on what notifications are in landscape. And I'll go ahead and shut up right now and let him go ahead and describe what's going on here and how the approach was made. So you should be able to speak now, and I think people can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hey, everyone, all 12 viewers. It's a pleasure to present to you today. As Ed said, I'm one of 3 designers at Tlon, and I've been working on this notifications project. It's pretty simple. Things happen around landscape. People comment on things. People send you messages. But it's kind of hard to know when those things happen right now. So this kind of like updates inbox is designed to address that issue. So the way you get there in this kind of design is you receive some kind of notification. So it'll show up on this leap button. You'll see that you can go to updates. And then you'll have a full kind of like inbox of all of the notifications that have accrued since you last checked. Since you'll probably get a lot of messages, those will be batched. So like messages or updates of a like kind will be merged into one notification. And you can kind of see that with this notification here. Just a few messages have been received in the infrastructure chat in the Tlon group. So another feature is that you'll be able to mark these as read or unread, or archive them as you need to. The idea being that you might want, something important might come across the inbox, so you may want to save it for later, but you might want to discard other items that you don't think are like, things that you don't want to like respond to ever. So let's see what else. Another thing that you can do in this situation is like, you should be able to turn certain sources on or off. So like, you should be able to mute, notifications from a particular channel or comments from a particular post. So that way you can kind of like customize your experience a little bit and focus on things that matter to you. That's pretty much the inbox. Just trying to figure out if there's anything else that I should mention here. My prototype is also broken, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I think I actually have yet to pan over to the comments to see if anyone's asked questions, but I will momentarily. I just don't want to distract from what's going on in the Figma screen. But are there any sort of
Okay.
things that you might or that might be worth showing that are a little bit further ahead of maybe the sort of most recent
Oh,
realm of work we'll be doing?
I can show you some future stuff that I've been messing around with
Yeah,
if you want. I mean, if people are interested, you know. Uh,
yeah.
let's
Experiments
see.
and
So
future things are always fun to look at.
yeah. So one thing I've been messing around with is like, so my main kind of like the main thing I work on is the design system, and so I'm always trying to make things like as systematic as possible. Um, and part of that is like this process kind of started with making sure all of our buttons look the same, or making sure that our typography was consistent, stuff like that. That's actually pretty straightforward, and a lot of that is kind of like either already implemented or kind of like in the works, thanks to our our very talented front end team. Um, but there's a couple of things that we sort of haven't really formalized yet, which is kind of like navigational patterns and kind of like larger, like more macro UI patterns, kind of like something like windows or toolbars or some notion of kind of like a windowing system. Or like how do you like quick switch between two contexts, like two different subscriptions or something like that. And along those lines, I've been messing around with a couple of ideas to kind of replace the sidebar and also put give groups more of a presence. So I can show you a couple of those lines of work here. Uh, oops. Okay, so this prototype is kind of like um, exploring one specific navigational idea that relies a lot more on Leap. Leap, if you're not aware, is this kind of like Omnibox style menu that you can access from any view in landscape. And we like it because it's a really fast way of navigating between different things. And because of that property, it kind of makes like a natural feature to invest kind of like more time into, because it's kind of like the center axle of like a hub and spoke navigational model. So this is kind of like a login screen. I'm just logging into my landscape client right now, um, and all I see is this desktop. Um, I can either lock my screen, or I can uh, well, at one point I could hit space and Leap would open, but I guess the prototype is not updated. Um, so here we go. Uh, anyway, here's our desktop. So if we leap, then we should get this modal. Oh boy. Wow, this is like completely broken.
It's all good. This happened a
Okay.
couple of times in our the first two streams when we were trying to navigate Figma.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll hone this
Anyway,
presentation system.
yeah. Uh, this is the modal in question. This is sort of something that can be opened anywhere in the system and lets you navigate to things um, like any number of pinned items or system preferences, the updates inbox, which I just showed, or this spaces feature, which we're kind of working on right now, but it's a little bit like groups. Um, so you can just open this up and navigate to any context, basically in the system. Um, so you can use this to kind of like go to your spaces, select one of these from the menu, and go to like a specific kind of like like dashboard for a group or list of um, subscriptions that a group has to offer as options. Um, and then from there, you can go to like a specific module, a specific like subscription, and like uh, a chat or a blog or something, um, or a collection. Uh, so that's kind of like one way in which we're trying to like make the navigation much more like regular and much more pattern based, and less kind of like reliant on web app style patterns of navigation like sidebars and um, stuff like that, and at the same time give these applications like chat or publish or and maybe even a new application like some solid patterns for um, some solid patterns for navigating without too much thought.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just stopped presenting my screen by accident, but
it's all good.
um, and then let's see, what else do we have? So along those lines as well, I've been working on kind of like similar idea with a lot of the same like visual language, trying to consider like what actually happens when you have some kind of um, persistent thing happening somewhere. So that could be like watching a video with audio or listening to a piece of music or setting a timer or something like that. Um, Ideally, you should be able to navigate away from the context where you triggered that event to begin, go do other things, and then um, easily check on the status of such things. So here we have like a new kind of like top bar that's a little more like a top, like a bar, I guess, with these, I guess you could call them tabs, but they are um, generated by the one of those events um, that I mentioned before. So you can like click one of these and go to the context where that event was triggered. Um,
Nice.
and there's also some like early ideas about how to kind of like communicate visually that a lot of subscriptions are group specific, so they exist inside a group and aren't visible outside the group. So these kind of like window like designs try to do that, where you just have this like group label on the outside and then some context uh, on the inside that can accept something like a module um, or view to some application. Um, so here's kind of like an idea for a new publish application that just sits inside the Tlon group. Maybe it has a associated blog called Film Industry Interviews, and this is kind of like a rich text editor. Uh, yeah,
Amazing.
here's a music player.
Yes. So cool.
Uh, but yeah, that's kind of like what I've been up to recently.
That's awesome.
Hope you all enjoyed listening to me talk about the future
The
interface
future.
patterns stuff. So
Exactly. That's amazing. Let's see. I'm checking out the chat really quickly, and absolutely zero questions. Just a
awesome,
lot of people,
awesome.
a lot of people saying they miss you, Gavin.
Clearly stunned by the level and of presentation I'm delivering right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Although apparently my Fedora collection was revealed. Uh, that's something Toby is chatting about.
You have a
Let's see.
Fedora collection?
I don't know what he's referring to, honestly. It must have been some you know some maybe UI reveal going on my screen or something. Although I don't know.
You're like
I've no.
10,000 block Fedora arena
Yes,
channel.
exactly. Just a
Yeah.
purveyor of fedoras. Yeah, no other questions. Oh, yeah, okay. I think Toby is about to shoot a question over at
Oh,
us.
okay.
So let's see. He's thinking, but yeah. Let's see. If you wanted to actually cease sharing your screen, or if there's anything else you want to share, by all means, you can do that if you like. I would have to figure out what to display on my screen, but I'm really liking the Figma ambient journeys going on.
Yeah, I can totally just scroll through some of the Indigo stuff a little bit, and
Yeah, the design system.
uh, Indigo is our design system. So this is the Figma. These are the Figma components that we use to build a lot of the interface.
Oh, I see. Yes, everyone. Okay.
I
Oh,
can
sorry.
tell Toby is winding up for a real one here.
Yeah, I think he is. He's okay. So I'll read it off in real time. So if you look at lots of HCI theses coming out in the last few years, they all rely on contexts and search very heavily. And I think that's the first half of this. Maybe I should just wait for him a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really need to figure out this OBS thing. I'm realizing that I'm using the desktop display view, so it just shows literally everything, like uh, my slightly unstructured background, among other things. Let's see what.
They assume. Oh, I see. I'm actually reading Toby's question
Oh,
now.
good.
So they,
Okay.
they assume some pretty sophisticated abilities around tagging or keyword-based grouping with machine learning and AI. What do I think about that? What do I think about that? I think it would be really cool if you could run your own kind of um, like an ML tagging like routine that was kind of custom made for you on your node. Um, right now we do really basic keyword matching for that constitutes the search feature for the Leap modal. I think maybe one day it's a possibility. I'm not like uh, I think it's genuinely I think it could be genuinely useful. Um, I don't really want the UI to rely on it wholly, but like in other words, I think the user should have control over what they opt into as far as features are concerned. If we're talking about like a longer term kind of like vision, I think one complexity with introducing a lot of user preference is that it really like geometrically compounds the level of complexity that we need to deal with for just basic feature releases and stuff like that. So I'm normally like a little reticent to go like full in on user customization, but I definitely believe it's like really important. Um,
Hmm.
let's see. I don't know if that answers your question, Toby. Let me know.
Let's see.
I think there's like a follow-up. Do you think contexts that exist across applications have a role in Urbit?
Ooh, it's
Since
a
we're
good one.
discussing multitasking. Um, uh, by applications, do you mean like applications that you'd run outside of Urbit, like Slack or something?
It's actually a good question. I wonder if he's speaking to like modules, basically like what we like are the equivalent to applications we have. Maybe he can
Oh,
clarify in a
yeah.
sec.
I guess like are these contexts are the contexts you're talking about specific to Urbit, or are they like
Mm.
any application?
Mm. Yeah, it's not really interesting. I don't want to necessarily um, insert an answer here, but this is actually like a really interesting subject discussion that we were even just talking about yesterday, which is, I think, from the sort of origins of Urbit's user space, which was initiated as this project called Modulo. There was always this idea that functionality was kind of this. It was like a module based thing. It was like a modular system. I could assemble these things and basically have like a working surface that I could just interact with. And I think one of the things that we've recently discussed doing in a little bit of a serious manner is possibly maybe restating like what the idea of a module is, or these notions of subscriptions, or even channels as we talk about them now. It's like, do they need to be maybe reevaluated, or can we maintain the way that they operate, you know, and push
Right.
them some of the directions that are being suggested in some of these designs? It's a really good question.
Yeah, I think that's definitely top of mind for us right now. So Toby clarified a little bit. He was said that, yeah, he said yes, affirmative, like uh, modules on Orbit. I think, yeah, like one example of this that we thought of is like you should be able to post a link to a blog post into a chat, and it should kind of unfurl and show you some content preview. Um, I know that's like a very basic example of like a kind of like cross-cutting, um, like cross-context, like data from one module to another example. I really like that idea. I think it's really powerful. Like you should be able to like likewise embed like eventually some type of like application context in a post, in a text post, for example, a little bit like observable notebooks.
Yeah, so true, so
I
true.
think that would be super cool. I think the main question is like, how do you organize the like body of protocol standards that you'd need to make sure that that um, is robust in a decentralized network? Because you have to have you have to follow some kind of standard. I mean, even like something like Open Graph, or which is used for like things like Twitter unfurls and iMessage or something. Um, like those follow a standard that's defined by the Open Graph protocol, and that's what makes them usable, because application creators follow the protocol when they implement the like container application. Um,
Yeah,
but since we're kind of like since landscape is so nascent, I think that's less of a like political issue versus like a implementation um, question.
yeah. I mean,
And then
oh yeah, you
I
can
think
continue.
to the second point, it's like I definitely think that like um, content should be kind of portable, like between groups. Um, I guess what could, because I mean, to be clear, like it already is, because copy and paste is a fundamental feature of almost every operating system. Um, so it's like very, very difficult to keep secrets on computers. Uh, so I think like I really do like the idea of like somebody was, I think Galen was making fun of me for suggesting that we like create our own copy paste feature. But I
Hey,
think
if
it's really cool. I think it could lead into some interesting directions.
I mean, hey, if we're starting from fundamentals on the development side, why not reassess what copy and paste is? At this point.
Or even just basic like small features that
Mm-hmm.
give like I think Figma does this really well actually. Like if you copy and paste something in the editor, it will give you a little like a very subtle notification that tells you what copied and pasted.
Yeah, I love those. Actually, they're
Which is kind
amazing.
of cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could. I, there's another, maybe Vim also has like, I forget what it's called. It's like a ring or something where you can like, there's it maintains copy and paste history.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when I say reinvent copy and paste, I don't really mean like, the fundamental idea will probably remain the same, but like, I think there's a bunch of ways you could make it a little more user friendly.
Certainly, yeah.
Um,
One of the things that you just mentioned in the first half of that answer too was this really simple idea of, if I'm in a landscape chat and I post what is effectively a link or an endpoint, or I think beams might be equivalent. It's kind of like our developer term for these things, like if you were to post something like that into a chat, it's like, hey, well, why not render a little bit more richly some of these cross sort of module sort of contexts in a little bit of a more visual way. Like right now, when you paste a link to a group, it's like it's a link, and I can click into it and I can join it that way. That's kind of like a really minimal hint to this future, but it got me thinking where some of the ideas that Jimmy had been presenting in one of the last streams, where he was talking about how our very generic links aggregating module could turn into something called collections, which is maybe more visual or renders things like music files or pictures or whatever in a little bit more of a rich way. It gets me thinking where like, sure, yeah, if we could possibly modify this notion of like, oh, I paste in a link to a collection, it can just be a link, but I could also unfold it into like a visual gallery possibly in the context of that chat. Or if it's like a set of only pure music files, it could be like a mini music player in that chat. That'd be amazing. And I feel like you might even be like that. We have the components in Indigo that kind of point to this as well, where it's like, hey, there's like a little gallery that could appear in chat, which is really cool to think about. I love these avatars. But yeah, there's like a lot of possibility, I feel, with some of these really basic affordances for like cross-linking contexts and modules. Yes, yes.
Yeah, there's just a little app that you can like paste into a chat stream.
Yeah,
Tells you the weather.
it could be very powerful, I feel. Like if we really go deep into seeing how this could be, I don't know, maximally achieved. Yeah. Checking out the chat and seeing if there are any other questions. I have to do this on my phone because I can't change the desktop context.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because it would just, we wouldn't be able to see anything on your screen.
Oh,
But,
right.
but it looks like there's no more questions. Yeah, I don't know. The thing about these streams is that we don't have to like drag it on. Like if you've said everything you've wanted to say and presented everything, we could go ahead and just end it and play music for the rest of the time. There's so many cool things to show here. I love this shit. It's so good.
Happy to field more questions if anybody's interested. I also made like a kind of dark mode version of the previous prototype.
Yeah.
Still just trying to figure out like what Windows actually are.
Mm-hmm.
This, like OS that you run in a web browser. But
yeah, man, it's gonna be neat the moment we maybe make that more serious leap to like a fully sort of sealed off experience in a way, Like I've even seen a couple of random community contributor people talk about how like, oh yeah, well there are a couple of mechanisms we could use to bundle up like a basic Linux, like the sort of most minimal operating system possible, and then just have Urbit be the only thing that it loads into, which is kind of neat to think about.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Yeah. God damn, I love these. There are some really good deep cuts in a lot of these components.
I think our like lorem ipsums are often really wild.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Ah, damn, we did so much work here.
This is kind of, so for viewers, this is like some early notifications work. Some like pretty basic components.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of this is Ed and Jimmy, right?
Yeah, we'd all been doing a design drift around this time. It's good stuff. Yeah, I'm really excited with the point at which it's landed. I think one of the number one questions that we've just been collectively receiving in like Urbit's own chats is this, or landscape, I should say, is this idea of like, okay, well, what exactly is blocking this thing? It's like everybody knows we need it. And I think the answer there is that the store is still being developed. So the actual specific notification store in the back end is still being sort of assembled. But the moment it's there, we have so much design work that's ready to go out. It'll be pretty quick as soon as that's all finished. Oh yeah, this is so good. I was actually thinking of bundling up some of these Miyazaki backgrounds into a little zip to share on Palfun's his BitTorrent app that he made for the command line. It'd be like a nice starter pack of sorts.
Oh, did he release that?
Yeah, he did. I think in Urbit Dev, he made a post and was like, "Hey, everybody, you can start using this thing." But there are like a
Nice.
couple of points of improvement that need to be made. Just like I think it still uses like public magnet links or something. So like
Oh,
all the
okay.
content is basically just public, and it really
No,
isn't bounded.
no private trackers.
Not yet. No, but I mean, the moment he gets to that point, it's like, hey, a group could be, a private tracker. Like, it really could serve that function right away.
Yeah,
We're really close to that.
that's that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah, I
kind of
guess it makes
insane.
me wonder, like, what's the point of using BitTorrent if you already have a network of personal servers? It's like
It's a good question.
it's already sort of. I mean, I guess you could have like distributed like data fetching and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a cool proof of concept at the very least. Like
Yeah.
what I'm really excited about is just any sort of experimentation with the actual command line interface as well that I think are
Oh, right.
sort of like part and parcel with that. Like I remember some of the experiments that you had been working on another file where I think it was a hypothetical screen that was purely dedicated to like console output. That was like a cool example of how we could rethink that all.
Oh,
Because
wait, what was that?
I can't.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was called like if it was, I don't think it was a part of Daigo. It was like some other like offshoot sketch, but it was really sick. So I think thinking about like maybe more intentional hardware elements, while it's obvious that we can't spend the time or necessarily energy really going deep into that, makes me wonder like if we developed a keyboard, at the very least, and had some custom buttons into it, what would it be? Like, would our keyboard have like a knob on it, or a tracker of
Oh,
some
yeah.
sort? I'm really curious as to
Yeah.
like how we could adapt these interfaces with custom hardware in mind. But that's maybe
Yeah.
a later
So
project.
actually, this is one of the most interesting things that
Hmm.
one of the most interesting thoughts or realizations that has come of like working on something that resembles an OS is like
Hmm.
basically like all of the ways we use computers are like defined by our input and output devices.
Hmm.
So monitors, mouse or trackpad, keyboard, everything we do on computers needs is designed for these specific types of peripherals. Um, so if you kind of like want to design something truly new or like a truly new OS or whatever,
Hmm.
you kind of have to like one way to do it might be like to create a new type of peripheral
Yeah.
for input and output. And that's kind of like something that, I mean, obviously, like famously, Dynamic Land has is like a response to this realization in many ways.
Exactly.
It's like I'm sure Brett Victor has thought about this a lot, given his time at Apple.
Yeah.
But
Very sure. Damn. Yeah. That's something that I really hope that we could I don't know, in some sane amount of time begin to explore in earnest. It would be really cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's see. I haven't checked the chat in a while. I'll maybe look one last time.
I don't see any new questions.
Yeah, nothing new. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have any sort of additional thoughts to kind of levy out here or anything that I would be. Yeah, I'm a little bit blanking right now in terms of what to prompt or like talk about here. But like, yeah, leaving off on hardware, I think is just really tantalizing because it's obviously like that is kind of like where that dream is, where it's like, hey, we're promising this, you know, um, to the sort of ones and zeros, like fundamentally restructured thing. Well, how does the sort of hardware follow up with that?
Right.
And I actually strongly agree with you that if you really are serious about that prospect of designing what is OS like, or sort of at that level of of thinking about the functions of a computer, it's like, well, you obviously would want to think about how the thing maybe turns on and off fundamentally, or how do I, input, is in a very general way. Um, I don't know. That's where things get really really weird, or they could be, I guess, a lot weirder than maybe what we're expected or used to. Not that
Yeah.
not that
Well,
novelty is good. It's just like you know, there's always a better way. But yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Uh,
Yeah. Anything else you want to possibly leave off on, or do you think we should just cut this thing short, nice and short, and we can just play some music vibes for the rest of it?
yeah, why don't we play some music vibes?
All right. Yeah, well, I'm really happy we were able to show some of the stuff and explain where the thinking is and where it's going. I'm really excited for this work that you showed to just get developed, you know, more and more. I think we have
Yeah.
basically like a really nice span of time before the coming year to really seriously consider how this thing evolves. So it'll be a good project.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. I am going to switch over the scene now, but thanks Gav as well. You can bounce whenever you'd like.
Cool. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Peace and blessings.